Hey everyone, it's great that you found the time to join me here today for the ISE 2025 Debrief. I am here live from Barcelona. I've spent a good chunk of the day today walking the halls of ISE and we're gonna talk about it. But who's with me here today? I also have John Barker from Here to Record. Hey John, thanks for joining me.
Hello, hello. Thanks for having me. Unfortunately, I am not in Barcelona as much as I'd love to be somewhere that's a little warmer than, 2 degrees here in Sweden. I can at least help ask some questions about what you saw for the people who also weren't there. So excited.
Yeah, it's so for those of you who say, well, ISE, what is that? What would you say ISE stands for if you wouldn't know what it stands for, John?
If I didn't know, I would say International Southern Europe, and I'm out of letters, something like that. I know I would say E is Europe, and I would say international is I, so it doesn't leave many letters. But I know that's wrong. So what is it? What is it, Jonas?
So yeah, because like IBC is like International Broadcast Convention.
Yeah.
Um, I first thought it's like International Systems Engineering or something like that, but
Mm.
what it stands for is Integrated Systems Europe. And that integrated is really the part that I got to love about the show. It's like it's my third year this year. And the integration could also stand for interoperability. Like if you walk the floor, you've never like you walk up to a Cisco booth and you see, hey, we work with Zoom, Teams, WebEx, all of that. But then you walk up to a Zoom booth and they are showing their latest Zoom rooms and they do the same thing. Same thing with Teams. But also the broadcast vendors are kind of catching on to that. This year is the first time that there's an actual like AV broadcast segment. Blackmagic has been here, I think, for since I've been going, so like 3 years. They have the huge big booth that they seem to just have one in every continent that they can
Yeah.
plop out and
They just ship it out. I can't imagine the sheer amount of work just to get that thing between places. Never mind actually setting it up and using it.
I
It's
would
wild.
not want to do that. Like
No, no, no.
it's impressive. They have nice carpet and all that. But another booth that got me really excited is we all saw, well, some of us probably saw that Elgato announcement where they were like, hey, we're announcing something that
Hmm.
you've been wanting for. And everybody was like, what? What are you announcing? So, what was your guess, John, before we
Yeah.
actually talk about what it is?
Yeah, well, I mean, originally I thought like maybe a 2U version of the studio, the Stream Deck Studio that was released at IBC last year, but it felt a bit soon. And then I read on their LinkedIn they said it was an accessory, so I figured it was going to be one of those, that they released the Stream Deck Plus modules that you clip in for XLR and for USB, and I figured it would be like a actually like a PoE or a multi-hub almost PoE in one, and then maybe like three Ethernet outputs or something just to snap into the back of
Yeah.
the Stream Deck Plus. I have one here somewhere, but I was hoping it wouldn't be specifically for the Stream Deck Plus. So I immediately asked you today, like, where are you going? Are you going there, and what is it? So I'm guessing you have the answer. Hmm?
Yeah, so let's take a look at my screen and this is basically what happened this morning is I and ran to the Elgato booth,
Mm-hmm.
and the funniest thing was I got recognized because
Ah,
John and
nice.
I basically spent half of IBC last year hanging out at the Elgato BitFocus booth, so that was fun. Um, and this is the device.
Yeah.
It
What
looks
what what is
really
this? What is this madness? It looks very
unassuming.
pre-production-y. What are we looking at here?
Well, it didn't feel like that. Like it
Okay.
is, this feels like a proper housing, but what it is, let's see. And this is probably all you can see on that picture. But what it is it's a little insert that fits in the Stream Deck XL.
Mm-hmm.
So on the side, it has input, and that is PoE powered. And then you see there's a USB-C cable hanging out. So you then plug that USB-C cable into your Stream Deck Plus, Stream Deck XL. But it also works with the Plus. It works with the Mini, the Mark 1, Mark 2, all of them, which I think is really cool. And what it then does is it kind of behaves like the Stream Deck Studio then. So you get PoE, that's how you power it. My understanding is that you can also power it over USB still and still have the Ethernet connectivity, similar to the Stream Deck Studio.
So if I have my Stream Deck XL here. So based on your photo there, it looks like it would sit nicely in this little gap that or
yeah,
do you
if we
actually have to
can
take this
take
off
a look at your screen baked, we might see it a little better.
Yeah, exactly. So you have that gap in there for like the official stand that comes with it. And the shape of the thing you showed kind of looks like it would fit in here. But the USB is quite an awkward place to get to, right? So would it actually like slot in there and still be connectable? And then I suppose the network connection is coming out one side and USB is going inside?
Yeah, so the USB connection, let's see. And we're going to do this a little bit ghetto. So if we look at my screen again, somehow I like rushed back from ISE, but didn't get all the time to load all this footage. So actually what we're going to look at, is this is the footage that I shot on my DJI Pocket 3 and I didn't even copy it off. So this is what it looks like.
Yeah.
You see, I think this is the power one. And then, let's see.
That was like magic there. So this is the other side. What happened there?
So you see how it fits in there. But the keen eye might notice here's a little crack there. So, of course, after I shot this, lovely Elgato employee came over and was like, hey, do you want me to show you how to do it the right way? This is what we see here.
Yeah, okay. So it fits in perfectly like that.
Well, no, this isn't it yet. Let's see.
Oh, this is a Jonas attempt.
This was the Jonas attempt, and here is so this is how it fits in, and it fits in really nice. And like you can, let's see, am I actually closing it? Yeah. So you can see now it fits really nicely.
Yeah, exactly.
You can plug it in the back there, and like that all just works out nicely. And then you have this, at the end you have this nicely packaged package. I heard about June is when they are planning to release this. Take a guess what it would cost.
I want to say like €100.
Yeah, so it's gonna be right now. What I've heard is it's gonna be below 175-ish, since we have an international audience. Who knows with taxes and all of that and VAT and you know how all of that is. Just to be like,
I'll go back to some of those photos that you showed there of the device. So just to be super clear, then there's USB on both sides of it, right? There's a USB connection on its by itself on one side, which would be the one that you would connect into the back of the Stream Deck. And then
I don't know which one is which, to be honest. But like what you see here is in the back here, there's a USB-C cable plugged in.
Is that connected or is that actually detachable?
That's connected. No, that's detachable. So like this is just a tiny thing. Yeah. And then what they showed me a prototype of was very cool. It was a 3D printed holder for this. So you can mount it below your desk or something. That way, like you have one USB-C cable going somewhere in a console and you can still control this, which like I really like that product. And then the other cool thing is maybe if your Stream Deck fell down, let me show you this. This was kind of cool. They had all of the Stream Decks there.
Ah, nice.
And
The
then
whole
what you're
family.
seeing here is that looks like, oops, what happened there to that Stream Deck? So let's see in the next clip. Maybe I show it here. Yeah, so what you see in this clip is
Like it
all the
looks like a low
modules.
profile.
Well, so what this is that is the actual module that is inside of the Stream Deck.
All right.
Um, and that is also June, is what I've heard, and like it ships in this little cardboard box. But what is really cool about that is like at that point you can like print your own enclosures, like do metal cutting, whatever you feel like doing with it. And then you can have your own Stream Deck that's highly customized, looks like exactly what you want, but it's still a Stream Deck. And then the other thing that we see back here is this is a Stream Deck XL with that PoE mod.
Mhm.
So what it's kind of cool. You're actually going to use the Stream Deck to set the IP address, the HCP static IP address. With that is what I've heard. So
Interesting.
yeah, pretty cool.
We have a couple of questions actually. I can throw to those in the chat about the.
That sounds great.
Aaron wants to know: is it only for power, or does it have management as well? Is there a Raspberry Pi in there? Because I actually thought when you showed me that picture of that little box, I figured like, oh, maybe it's like a headless, some sort of headless like companion-y thing that's going on, built specifically for this. But yeah, I suspect it's not like a Pi in there, or maybe if it is, it's not one that you could play with. And yeah, is it only for power, or is it management as well? I figured that we might have answered that, but tell us anyway.
So yeah, that was of course my first question is like, but does it run Companion? Which of course, if you are like talking to the main developer of Buttons, he really loves hearing. No, like there's no problem there, but was kind of funny. No, so what it is it uses the same remote connection than the Stream Deck Studio does.
Yeah.
So like Companion and BitFocus Buttons is going to be able to talk to it. They are kind of also thinking about like, because I mentioned one of the issues that we're having in the cloud is like now that Companion talks to the Stream Deck Studio to set it up, there's kind of like a need for like a VPN to discover it and all that.
Cool.
I think that might be solvable with like some API calls or something, but basically it's gonna speak the same thing. It's not the stock satellite protocol. That being said, real quick tangent. Have you seen in Companion 3.5 that there's now a WebSocket version of the satellite protocol?
No, I haven't played at all with 3.5 yet. So I haven't had a chance to play with that.
That is probably one of the features that I just really am excited for. That being said, I found it really cool. Don't have it on video, but I was at the Cobalt booth. And for those of you, Cobalt do like broadcast 12G HD video routers, BNC, and like all of the open gear cards and all that. But they also have a router panel. And the really cool thing is, as a developer, it's a Raspberry Pi in the back. They were like, yeah, oh, yeah, you want to customize it? Yeah, sure, load your software on the Raspberry Pi. So like at that point, you can write your own router firmware, your own control, and then use these really nice router panels that have like NKK buttons and all of that. So that was really cool to see.
That's neat.
The other thing, yeah.
No, I was just going to say that. So just to make sure that we're extra clear then about the sort of PoE. What are they calling it? The PoE device? Is there a name for it?
I talked with them for like half an hour, and I have no idea what they're calling it.
But so the problem they're trying to solve here is like currently the limitation of this Stream Deck is that I have to have a right beside the computer, or I have to have a really long USB cable in order to move it across the room. But what they're trying to solve is now the USB connects into the box inside of here, and then with a network cable, I can go back to my switch, powered switch, of course. so that I can actually boot this thing up. Although I suppose since it has two USBs, in theory I could have a non-PoE switch running a cable to one cable to this from anywhere basically, and then that second USB port could power it locally beside me. I'm suspecting.
Yeah, so like the idea is that this way you can remote it, like you said, like for example, if you were doing a truck or something, you don't need to like have these USB-A hubs and
Exactly.
all that. And also like USB doesn't, in my like experience, USB 3.0 doesn't scale well. So like at some point, if you need to have like 10 different if you need to have 10 different Stream Decks, I think you're probably going to run into a bottleneck there. If there's any other questions, we can answer those now as well.
Yeah, well, another camera channel says, can't it be cheaper? Yeah, like 100, I suppose compared to, I was just looking at their website on the other Stream Deck Plus plugins, and they, whatever they're called, attachments, they're up there in the pricing. And in this case, since let's just say all it does is turn it into like a network attached device, it does seem like it is a big enough price to pay for every Stream Deck Plus that you want to buy, or other Stream Decks, getting one of these. But who am I to say how much things should cost? But it's hard to say.
I honestly think it's a pretty good price. Like,
Okay.
yes, it doesn't run Companion, but like it still needs to have enough power to drive the Stream Deck and like be a proper PoE circuit and all that. Like and the thing that I really like is it's not like this only works with the latest ones, or you need to actually buy a new back or something. Like, I think this solution is actually quite nice, and like seeing that they're gonna offer the panels as well. Like now you can really go all out. Like buy that PoE injector and a panel, and now create what do you wish for? Did you always want like a vertical Stream Deck, or
Exactly.
you need it in a weird mount? You want to like have it embedded in your car or whatever? Like, yeah, sure. Whatever you want, you can now do. And Omar in
And
the chat said it exactly. Like,
exactly.
yeah, no more 15-foot USB limitations
Exactly.
and satellite deployments. Because, like, yes, you could run like a Raspberry Pi with it and install a satellite on it, but now you have like a bunch of devices you need to manage. And this is just like a device, like a network device.
Yeah, and Mark is asking like, could you run a second USB Stream Deck via that extra USB connection? And I suspect that might be just like the Stream Deck Studio. I'm pointing to it off camera here, but it has another USB to run another Stream Deck next to it. So maybe that would be possible as well.
Maybe, but I honestly doubt it. Like driving one Stream Deck, probably fine, but like driving two might be hard. I think that one is just to power it. I can ask them though. I will be there again tomorrow.
Yeah, find out, because that's how it works on the Stream Deck Studio, and you would think that they're basically, it's the same idea, right? One PoE cable running them both.
It works on the front of the Stream Deck Studio. It works like that, but then in the back it also has two USB-C plugs. One of them is just power.
Yeah,
that's what I think. It might just be just power.
Yeah, we'll see then. It's early days, but I can see myself, like, I tend to bring one of these to most shows, or somebody has one of these in most shows, but I'm often finding the USB limitation. I never bring long enough USB cables, so it has to be right beside it. So if I was to bring one of those instead, I could basically use that for all the XLs that are deployed out there, and it would just show up in Companion just like my Studio does in the Discovery tab or whatever it's called. So that's quite neat. I love it.
And like that's kind of cool, because like now, let's say you're the TD and you just also want to be able to control playback. While you only need to be in the control network, and you don't need to like, well, give me a long USB cable. Or now as TD, you're also managing a computer with satellite. Like that doesn't feel like something you want to do. So like you just plugged it on. You're like, hey, this is me. They add it. I really like it.
Yeah, Me too. Oh, back to the other little panel only things that you showed there. Then, is there a USB connection on the side of those or on the back or something?
So it's on the back. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's 100. Like if you take a Stream Deck XL right now, you can disassemble it, and exactly that is what it's inside.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, I see. And there's plenty of
So
videos of that
like
online. I'm not going to do that to mine.
I did it a couple times to mine to like
Hmm.
look at it because it's quite you can just do it. The Mark II Stream Deck
Mhm.
is the same thing. Like if you lift the faceplate off, you can just pull it out. I
Yeah,
haven't
true.
seen it done to the Stream Deck Mini, so that's kind of cool that they also have that there.
Mm.
But yeah, I find it cool. And also, if you are looking for different things to 3D print in the Elgato Marketplace, there's now also like where you download your Stream Deck plugins if you use the native Stream Deck software and all that. There's now also a section for 3D print models where creators can sell their 3D print models that have something to do with the Stream Deck Studio and all that. So like
Mm.
there's different attachments for all the different webcams for the prompter. Yeah, it's I think it's quite cool to see them embrace that more.
Yeah. Actually, now that you say that though, um, I can definitely see a good use case for buttons here because if I was going to buy like 4 of those panels and put them all next to each other and build my own custom layout, um, doing that in Companion right now as it stands would be a real like piece of work to build that out yourself. All the pages you'd need to manage, but building that in buttons when we saw demos of that at IBC, bit focus buttons that is, you could build a very visual layout in the interface and then assign certain sections to certain of these panels. So I can imagine it would be a lot easier to manage that much your own custom panel build in a piece of software like buttons as opposed to Companion as it stands right now. If you know what I mean.
Yes and no,
Oh.
because like Companion, even in just checking that to make sure, even
Mm-hmm.
in the current version, yeah, if we look at my screen, even in the current version, you see where it says offset in grid.
Yeah.
So since the grid is now resizable, you could make it 4x the size of a Stream Deck XL
Yeah,
and
that's
then
true.
offset each of them. But like what you're right is buttons is ideal with that, where like you just put it on the map. But
Exactly.
this does exist. And what's also funny is like
Yeah.
Companion 3.5 adds more pages. So now you can have over 99 pages. So you could also do some cool things with that
If you wanted to.
if you wanted to. The other thing that I wanted to show you
Mm-hmm.
is look at those cute little bird dogs.
Look at those nice colors. Quite the palette.
On Yeah, so this is the new BirdDog camera that they announced today, and I'm totally blanking on the name. That is like meant for conference rooms.
Yeah, I saw
Has a
that.
USB-C output. Um,
What was it called? I looked that up
I
today.
uh,
I'll find it. Go ahead and talk.
like I think at this point they have proven like there seems to be this new line of BirdDog devices that a lot of people are happy now that like they learn from their mistakes, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if I'm ripe yet for another BirdDog camera.
It's
But
the
like,
BirdDog Max, by the way.
oh yeah, they had this cute thing like "Hello, I'm Max" and all
Mm.
that. I don't know. I just like the colors.
Yeah, they actually look really nice. I mean, this and to your point earlier, like what is ISE? So they're showing off this kind of stuff there. Meeting rooms that people would buy, let's say, 100 of these and put them in 100 meeting rooms in their building, as opposed to IBC where they're showing off like the new broadcast style or as broadcast as possible style cameras. So you wouldn't necessarily see them launch a product like this at the other conferences that we've met at. But here you can see the sort of, let's say iPhone SE or the colorful version, the
Yeah,
friendly prosumer or even just consumer version. And in front of that is the pod thing there. I saw that today as well, which was like a 4 NDI input, 1 USB output to like Teams meeting or Zoom or something, right? Is that roughly right?
Yeah. So basically, this is the pod, and what it allows you is you connect it over Ethernet and USB-C, and then it allows you to basically have like a hardware version of a virtual NDI camera. So like you can use those in conjunction, where then like you can just bring your laptop, put it down, plug the pod in, and that way you have the NDI source as a webcam.
No.
So yeah, I think that is quite neat.
And how do you configure that? I suppose that they would have it's all over the network.
There's a utility for it, I think. Yeah.
I find that that's the one sort of there's nothing really you can do about it, but it's the one sort of catch on these types of devices. Like, oh yeah, like you need a utility for that, or you need to know the IP address or something. So it's ideally it's like a deploy and forget sort of thing, and just teach people just to press one of those 4 buttons. Is that kind of what they were thinking?
Yeah, like you will deploy it and then
they can choose.
Like maybe you do like little markers that says like overhead camera, left camera, right camera, all of that.
Did you see their KBD keyboard at the booth today?
I did.
So they launched a brand new keyboard for production. BirdDog keyboards or controllers. I don't know why I keep saying because they're calling it the sort of keyboard, but they're controllers in the past of ones that I have definitely avoided. And there's a studio I went to the other day, and they have one there. I was hoping that I can convince them to get the newer one or a different one. But it looked interesting, and that I spoke to them at IBC that they were working on this new keyboard, and that they had designed it sort of, as far as I remember, at least from the ground up, to be much better than the previous one. So did you press some buttons?
I did not get to press some buttons. There was another person standing there, and I was late for another meeting. I was like, come on, move away. I want to press some buttons. And
I want to press them.
They just kept playing with it. But it looks pretty cool. Like, it looks nice. It's kind of funny. Like, they support so many more protocols than just like BirdDog cameras, which I appreciate.
That's good.
But yeah, I think time will tell. I mean, if we're being honest here, like they have a big trust to earn back.
Yeah.
And I think they're working hard on doing that.
Yeah, I think they'll get there.
Yeah, like I've heard a lot of good things about the new products.
Yeah. And Mike in the chat does say, reminder that BirdDog controllers are made for BirdDog cameras, but I suspect, like you just said, that was the previous one, and this one does support other cameras. Is that right?
Yeah, I can't say how the previous one worked, but this one has like NDI, Visca. Okay. I think it even does like 3422 or something. So like, yeah, it has like a lot of integrations like that.
Cool. So where else did you go? You had some more meetings that you ran off to. Anything fun is there anything fun that you can't tell us about that you could tease? Or am I walking you down a path that I shouldn't? He's thinking.
I don't
know. Not that you told me anything. I just mean like, I want some, stay tuned for NAB for some fun updates.
There's a lot of vendors that have said like, oh yeah, we're working on this for NAB. Yeah. Like, I mean, I've used it for like when people ask me about things for special. I'm like, yeah, we're planning to do that for NAB, and then I realize it's like only 6 weeks, so we better get to it.
Is it really that? No, it can't be.
Like 6-ish weeks now with like.
Okay. Got some work to do, huh?
We got some work to do. I did a little. I got to do an interview with Andy Carluccio from Zoom. That was fun. Nice.
Yeah, I just missed that. How did that go?
I think it went well. It is like we were talking. It is kind of funny. This after all these years that we know each other, this is the first time that we do an in-person, like speaking in front of like a virtual audience thing. We've done
Yeah.
every other combination. Like we have done speaking to each other without an audience in person. We've done speaking to each other without an like virtual. We've done like the virtual thing with an audience and all of that. But that is the one that we haven't done yet.
Right.
Um,
And
yeah,
how did
I
that go?
mean, it went great. We
Yeah.
talked a lot about Zoom Rooms Pro AV or custom AV. I think it's called custom AV, and then the controller is called Pro AV, which is like the new way on how Zoom Rooms can now output SDI and also input SDI. So you can
Hmm.
have like up to 4 inputs and multiple outputs with like galleries and all that.
But
That
so
was
I,
pretty
I
cool to
I don't
see.
use Zoom much outside of just like meetings for the most part, right? So
Yeah.
Zoom rooms to me, I either think of that as like a physical room where someone has got Zoom, what they call Zoom, a Zoom room, or is it an actual hardware piece of actual device that people can connect an SDI cable to? Because that's what you're talking about, SDI connections. What's the difference there?
So the Zoom Rooms software is
Yeah.
built for exactly those type of Zoom Rooms. The idea is basically you take a laptop, a Windows, Mac OS, and not a laptop, a Windows or Mac OS computer. It even works on the iPad, but the iPad
Hmm.
doesn't have all the NDI out and all that. But like you take a device and you make it a dedicated Zoom appliance device, basically,
Okay.
which makes it really stable. That's the reason why like we've started picking it up with the cloud as well, because then we just turn that one instance into an appliance for that. But while Zoom ISO is like, I like to think of Zoom ISO as like that's what the F1 team is working on, and then they find all these little issues. Um, Andy did this in a Discord that I'm in, and he did this like a post while he was on the plane from the US to here.
Hmm.
Someone asked like another developer, "Hey, can you like add multiple language interpretation channel audio?" And the person is like, maybe." And Andy, like on the plane, just like, "Hey, here's the code to do it," because
Right.
like he knows how to do it, because like they had to do it for Sumiso and all that. So like that's kind of the F1 team that paves the way.
Hmm.
And now that we're seeing all of that trickle back into the Zoom Rooms like appliance form factor, it's been really nice.
Cool. So how would I, if I wanted to use Zoom rooms for a production next week, using SDI, let's say it's already out. Um, what should I bring with me there? Like a dedicated machine with my hardware in it, run the software on there, and then in theory, I could bring SDI in and out as individual ISO feeds.
So Zoom Rooms custom AV or Pro AV, I'm just gonna call it Pro AV because I
Sure.
think that's is in public beta right now. So all you
Okay.
need is a Zoom Room that's a $50 a month license ish. Um, and then you need a compatible IO. So NDI works, Dante works, but I'm not a super big Dante guy just because I have one mic, so like might
Yeah.
as well just run an XLR cable.
Right.
But like you can use Dante with it in
Hmm.
and out, and you can also get the pins like that. And then you use a decklink card. So you
Right.
can, on the cheapest way, is just use an Ultra Studio monitor or a recorder. Now you have like a really high quality SDI feed. This today, for example, I'm using Zoomroom's Pro AV to stream my multiple camera sources into the cloud where we
Hmm.
are cutting this. And what I'm using is a Mini Forum MSO1 with a Decklink Duo 2 Mini. I think I said that right.
Sure.
Um, that has 4 assignable in and outputs. So like in why you know what? I'll actually show you the
Yeah.
Zoomrooms
Why
Pro
not show
AV
it?
controller.
Show it.
Why
Show it instead.
not now that it's out of beta? Not out of beta. Now that it's in public beta.
There you go.
So if we take a look at my screen, we basically up here you have all the NDI outputs. I don't actually do that, but like you can right now you have a participant, gallery view, active speaker, spotlight, pin group. One really nice thing is this version doesn't have it. So this Zoom room is not the latest one, but one of the cool things is you can set the output format per channel, and also you can like decide, do I want reactions? Do I want the names of people on top of my gallery view? Do I want the little green box around them if they're active speaker? But then here is where you see that I have my Decklink Duo, and those are the two SDI feeds that I feed into those two hardware cameras, and then I send them into Zoom. And yeah, like here I have outputs, and then I could select all of those as well, and then it would output that. But
what was the option there in the output?
So this is actually one of the cooler things that Zoom ISO doesn't even have. You have participant, clearly like just ISO someone, a gallery view, where you can also have multiple pages. So this is great if you need to like pull a huge wall out. You have active speakers, screen share, spotlight, which is also a group. So like if you do a multi-spotlight, you get that. And if you do a multi-pin, you also get it in pin group and a test signal.
And the way you could choose those specific signals is via that standard Zoom room interface. Is that right? Because since you can't choose a person here, if there's someone speaking.
So I'll show it to you in the NDI. So I do participant, and then it says select participant, and then there's this pop-up where I can click on people.
Oh, that's cool.
So this is the Zoom Room's proAV controller. So this way you can pin all that. You can assign that. The cool thing is they also have like, and this is what I mean with like any SDF1 team. They now have this one, and now there's an SDK for people like you or me to also build our own controllers or build control of Zoom Rooms into our own apps. There's now the SDK for that.
That's cool.
But like that is like I find that cool, because like they could also just say, you know what, we'll build it for us and like screw all the other guys. But no, they build it based off the SDK.
That's great. And so the real cost here is like you really need to have a Zoom room, $50 a month.
Yep.
For if you had one production coming up, I basically need to buy that one Zoom room.
You might.
And I could cancel.
You might need to also buy a Zoom Rooms Pro license for like $15 or something or worth it.
Right.
Like I think there might be like a minimum license cut, but also I don't know if it's still active, but like in the past you got like 10 Zoom Rooms for a month for free if you created like not for free, for testing, but like you put your credit card there, and then you had 10 Zoom Rooms that you could test with.
Nice.
So that might be worth it for some people. And yeah, it just supports NDI, Dante, and then Decklink cards.
And when would you need a multiple Zoom Rooms then? If you hit that, because I saw there was the 12 NDI limitation there. So if you wanted to do something even more complex, you could have multiple Zoom Rooms also part of the meeting and production, and then pull out more feeds. Is that right?
Yeah, and what's important with Zoom is like I still calculate with about 5 to 6 Mbits per feed.
Yeah.
But what's important to know is that there's a 28 Mbits limit per endpoint that you're maximum allowed to pull. Zoom ISO is able to pull like I think Zoom ISO is able to pull up to 100 Mbits, which is like a whole bunch. Like we sometimes talk about us, like just gloss over it. 100 Mbits. Like Zoom allows you to pull 100 Mbits per client from their data center.
That's wild.
Like that to me, yeah, that is just wild. As someone who lives in AWS, like I don't want to pay the egress bill for that. But so you're limited by that. So what we do is like 4 4 to 5 people is max at 1080p that I would feel comfortable doing, and then I would use a second Zoom room. But that is the other cool thing. Like you see up here, it's paged.
Oh yeah.
So like
Yeah.
if I pair with more Zoom rooms, I can quickly flip between those.
Got it.
Which with a Zoom rooms controller is harder because you wouldn't need to like have multiple open, and you can't have multiple Zoom rooms controller open. So at that point, you would need to use like the web interface.
Yeah. And so the way to do this right now, though, without using a Zoom room, is sort of like laptop farm, where you just pin people and.
I mean, that is
pull them
so
out.
2020.
I know, right?
Like
And
laptop farms.
is this ISO audio through this
Yes.
setup? Yeah. Okay. So you can't even do that.
Well,
What?
you decide. So like back here, you can say per input,
sweet.
do you want mixed or ISO? Like,
Yeah. Okay.
and that's the thing. Like you can really tell that team still listens to people actually doing it and come out of the field.
Yeah.
Like they think about things like that. Yeah, like before you can also use Zoom ISO still. There's like some additional features that Zoom ISO has that this doesn't have. But like for me personally, if it needs to be like more of a like appliance, then this is definitely what I would choose.
Yeah. This feels like a better choice for most of the stuff that I would do rather than Zoom ISO. And I suspect, without knowing any better, that it will get all the features effectively that Zoom ISO has at some point.
I think it will like chase after Zoom ISO for it. Like Zoom ISO will always be the bleeding edge of it, but like maybe they find out you don't need a thing, or maybe this feature takes too much to be added.
And how does tiles fit into all of this? Zoom tiles, is that part of is it another payment that you have to make, or is it part of this whole Zoom proAV stuff?
So tiles is part of the liminal app package, is what I like to call it. Zoom OSC, Zoom ISO, and tiles, and technically there is Zoom shortcuts.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is now an add-on to the native Zoom client instead of an additional app, so that kind of falls out. But the cool thing is you get those now with a Zoom Events license. So like if you get Zoom sessions, I'm not super into the billing, like I'm the technical guy, but apparently there's like it's relatively affordable, like $200-$300 a year to get access to all of those, which is pretty great. So then you get Zoom ISO, Zoom OSC, and Zoom Tiles. I know a bunch of people have done like really cool things with Tiles. So Tiles is really built for multi-people layouts. So you can just say, I need 100 people in this wall. That is really what it's built for. It has like an engine that like, if they turn the camera off, like it flips them around, and on the backside is a new person. You can just say, nope, not that one, not that one. They have an algorithm built in, and I found that super cool. Like if you use, and all of those are Mac only, so they don't apply to what we do in the cloud. But like one really cool thing about Tiles is they built it where you have multiple Tiles computers. If you tell them, hey, you are gallery page 1, 2, 3, 4, they, without talking to each other through that algorithm, they know who should be on what page. So that way you don't see people twice or double. So that way it really scales nicely.
Yeah, that's nice. That's neat. Omar asking in the chat, or suggesting, would love to get some type of hardware companion support for all this proAV controller stuff. Sounds like it'd be possible now that there's an SDK. You think that's possible? So
possible, yes. Companion is built on top of Node.js, and the SDK is C++. So what you would need to do is someone would need to build a controller and then expose those API calls to Companion. But that would be really cool if someone would build that. I would use it.
Do it. Someone do it, please. And Mike is full of useful information about billing in Zoom in the chat. I think somewhere I'm sure on the Zoom chat or in the Zoom website is a nice breakdown and all this pricing stuff. But it is there's a lot of options. It's hard to really understand where it all starts and ends.
Yeah, and the Zoom Test Kitchen, that's like every Friday, is a place where like there you can find people that really have figured all the more niche Zoom things
Niche,
out, or like the
exactly.
day-to-day Zoom things. Because like we use Zoom weirdly, like we're production people, we are only a niche.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, that's a lot of Zoom related details, which you wouldn't necessarily expect again to have learned at other trade shows that we go to, but this one does sound like the perfect place to learn that kind of stuff.
Well, and also like they already have a booth here, and like
Yeah.
it's not just before their big own exhibition, their own convention, Zoomtopia. So like IBC is always kind of hard for that one. Yeah.
Cool. What any other details, or what are you going to run to in the morning whenever you get back there for day 2?
So the last thing I'm gonna show, let's see
Ooh, more
if
stuff to
I
show.
have. Some of you that have seen streams with me in the past probably have seen me use these shocks OpenCom. I have like a pair here, of course. But I know that some people don't like it when they sit over your ear. So they have
Yeah.
these new open meat.
Uh-huh.
And what's neat about those is they sit on top of your head, and then they are rubbery and sit on your bones still. So it's still bone conducting, your ears open. But then they have a tiny backwards facing speaker as well
Mm-hmm.
that does and I don't know if it was the high or the low frequencies. But what is really cool is for those of you who have a Shocks headset is like, you know how you can sometimes feel the vibrations and like that can be like, on this one you just don't. And the
Uh-huh.
quality is really great. Um, it lasts a little longer, and then there's also the update to the Shocks OpenCom.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of like the proprietary power connector, they now have a USB-C. Which now that I say it, I wonder if that's like a thanks Europe thing, where like the EU was like, let's do that, or if they like customers actually just wanted that. But that's really cool, and they have an app now, so you can change switching behavior and all that. Um, so yeah,
That's neat.
if people want to learn more about what you do, John, where can they find you?
Yes, good question. I think you had a link in the chat to Here to Record YouTube channel. I cover all sorts of bits and pieces, plenty of chat about, stream decks. And although to be fair, the channel has been pretty quiet in a while, but I finally got this little studio setup running again. I have my really flashy over the shoulder camera here. I'm slowly getting the
Wait, I
studio
have
set
one
up.
of those too. Can we go to my wide shot?
Everyone come prepared with
Oh,
multiple
wait, that's
shots.
not me. Huh. So that's Tucker in the US cutting this show
Nice.
on Carbonite Code. And I was wondering, like, there was like 50-50. Either Tucker's gonna panic because he thought that I forgot that this is the shot that I mean. But
There you go.
there we go. We have all the
Beautiful.
shots. So back there's also a camera filming me in my apartment here.
Nice.
So you have a YouTube channel
Yeah,
where
all that's to say, I finally got a space to make YouTube videos and live stream again. I'm planning on going live much more frequently, actually, around this time every week, or at least every other week or once a month, more often than I have been over the last year or two, which is basically not at all. So that's the bar is extremely low, and I think I can beat it for the rest of the year. So find me there and watch along.
it's funny. I think I've heard that one before.
Yeah. And I have my, if you look at the graph, I've, peaked and troughed
There's like
plenty
a
of times.
cycle, definitely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I'm at the lowest point that sounds like terrible. I mean, like in terms of content production, is at the lowest point right now. So I can only go uphill. And now we've done 2 live streams in 2 weeks. So I don't plan on keeping up that cadence, but at least somewhere better than once every 6 to 12 months is acceptable.
And then also you have a great Discord server that
Yes.
you and I and a lot of other people hang out and just discuss things like this. But so when you're not busy doing daily live streams and like 2 YouTube videos a day, what else do you do?
Well, the reason I haven't made many videos over the past while is because when I come here to the office, I end up working on software. So I build graphic software, gear planning software, run of show software. Together, you and me are making production comms software. So all sorts of development tasks. All of those are more than enough to keep me busy by themselves for a full-time job. So I come here and I tinker at one of them every day, and then I never get around to making videos. And outside of that, I actually do a couple of productions once or twice a month at least for clients around town here, or usually in Sweden, where I'm using this equipment and often helping people out, press the buttons, using their equipment in their studios rather than having to bring my own. So I would say that most of my time is spent in the production world of some sort. It is my job and hobby as well. So I'm all over it.
That's that's similar to how I like to keep it, because I think there's just beauty and joy in the art of doing like a production and live production and keeping your the toes dipped into it. It's really nice if you're building software for it. And yeah, so for those of you who haven't heard about Space Comms, because we haven't talked about it that much, you can, there's a live stream that John and I did on John's channel, Here to Record.
Yes.
You can, after we're done here, you can head over there and watch that one. And then after you're done with that, you can also come back here and watch how I flew from Germany to here in yesterday's first episode of a vlog. There's one last thing I'll say about this exhibition that I noticed.
Okay.
The number one product that I've seen used is the DJI Pocket 3. Like
yeah.
the amount of press that runs around with it, like has the mic clipped.
Yeah.
And that is really impressive. And the other thing is like the other half of the press basically is like running a DJI Ronin gimbal on some form of flare.
At IBC, you're either like all in, or you're basically at the smallest, like even smaller than a phone. It feels like the DJI. Mine is just out of reach here, but I know that you and me, we used them for IBC, and I'm going to be using NAB and other things this year, and I really love it. Perfect for that. Just put it in your pocket or in your backpack. And the quality, like looking at those shots that you had earlier there, the quality is just incredible.
Yeah. So it's the second exhibition where I was like, that is interesting how often you see that one. That being said, thank you all for watching. Thank you to Tucker in the background cutting this. And if you have questions about how we did all of this, how are we sending not only this camera, but also my wide shot over to the cloud, how John is contributing, and how we're cutting all of this then in the cloud with Carbonite code from Ross Video. There's going to be another live stream half an hour later than today, because I learned out of my mistakes, and I'm giving myself even more time. So half an hour later, tomorrow, there's going to be another live stream. And then there's an exclusive live stream of that. If you head over to my LinkedIn, tomorrow you can see the behind the scenes live stream of that. So tomorrow I'm about a 30-minute live stream is what I'm planning to do about the other things that I haven't talked about yet about ISE. I paced myself better this time. I still have so much exciting things to see tomorrow. So I'm actually really excited to go back tomorrow to ISE. And then if you follow me on LinkedIn, you'll see that we'll go live with a behind the scenes live stream there that basically shows you the multi-viewer and all that. But then after that live stream wrap, we're gonna switch that over and end the YouTube live stream, and you can all follow us over to LinkedIn, where we're gonna do a quick Q&A talking about how are we doing this, how is it to Cataros Carbonite code in the cloud, how are we bringing all of those things over, and if we can make it work, I might even use the DJI Pocket 3 and like do a little roving shot here to show you all of the things instead of just showing you the shot. Yeah, and then there will be a couple of videos about ISE probably on my channel. So if you enjoy keeping up with all of this, feel free to subscribe and like this video. Is that how you do that, John? I know you're a YouTube veteran. And,
yeah, but I'm not up with the kids, so I just say, watch the video if you want to, subscribe if you want.
And if you don't want to, you know what? I might as well. You can still unsubscribe for free.
I'm not gonna make you. Like I find my Pocket 3. It still works.
Nice.
I haven't taken it out of this pouch since September, but it's still nicely charged. So I shall treat it well before going to Vegas.
Yeah. No, it's mine is almost empty now. So like used it well today.
Nice.
Yeah. And I think that's any last words, John, before we wrap this live stream up? Any last questions from the chat or anything?
No more questions coming in, but just have a nice time over the next few days. Enjoy. Be sure to send plenty of photos to us that are not there in the Discord or on social as well. Or I'm keen to hear what else you see and find out about the PoE. You said you were going to find out something about the PoE thingy earlier. Oh, that was like an hour ago we talked about it. So yeah, we'll see.
Oh, it was if it can do more than one
There you
stream
go.
deck.
That's the one. Find that out and let us know in the Discord.
I will, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And I hope you enjoyed this look into how ISE 2025 is. If you enjoyed it, there's more content coming, so subscribe. I don't know. Do you know if the subscribe button does a cool little animation when you say subscribe live as well? Because I know it does it in the video.
Let me unsubscribe from you right now and resubscribe. Yes, it does. It does a cool little animation.
That's cool. Great. Way to derail an outro. But that being said, thank you all for watching, and looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. A little later, same channel, same setup, so it's gonna be darker. And yeah. Find me on John's Discord or on the ByteHive Discord and leave a comment if you have any questions. I'll try to ask the vendors the really hard questions like, but can it do 2? But can it do less? Can it cost less? And I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for joining.